Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Frieren Season 2 after a week-long break because of the gosh darn Winter Olympics, right? Like, absolutely no regard for anime. They just had to organize the Olympics in the middle of the season, right? Completely shameless. But, oh well, it is what it is. So we are back after a little bit of a break, right? We are back in episode 6. So we basically passed the midpoint of this season of Frieren. So I expect that we're probably gonna start entering the plot proper, so to speak, right? Because episodes so far were fairly episodic, where every half an episode was like its own self-contained thing, pretty much. I expect we're gonna enter some multi-parter by now. Next episode at the latest. But we'll see, of course, what happens exactly, right? What happened in the previous episode, though? In the previous episode, we learned of a miraculous, the best wine, the best alcoholic beverage of all times, Boshaft, which was said to be basically ambrosia, but it was lost to time. Now, thankfully, Frieren's old friend, a dwarf by the name of I can't remember, found a trace and, of course, enlisted our team to help him find the Boshaft so that he can finally savor this ambrosia of the olden times. And because he was offering a nice amount of money, Fern and Stark had absolutely nothing against sticking around for a couple of months, because that's how long it would take down the barrier. And so we did stick around. Frieren did take down the barrier. They got into Boshaft, and turns out Boshaft is terrible. And the whole story, the whole legend around it was born of a very bored elf by the name of Miliarde, who just really didn't like the drink and decided to close it behind a barrier and leave an inscription that says it's the best drink ever for shits and giggles, because apparently she also was looking for something like that for hundreds or tens or hundreds of years, and it turned out that the search wasn't worth it. So she decided to spread the misery, I guess. But there wasn't much misery. There wasn't much misery because the dwarf was happy that he finally fulfilled that wish of his, that he finally fulfilled the goal of his life. That was kind of, the thing here, the search and the resolution. Not so much whether Boshaft is a good drink or not. And also, it was just a funny story. And also, Boshaft, terrible as it might be, it was still drink completely lost to time from times immemorial. So drinking it, however horrible, is still, some sort of an achievement. It's kind of like if we were to randomly stumble upon, I don't know, full jars or bottles or amphoras or whatever of Roman garum, right? Like the original thing. Like, it probably would be fucking terrible, but I mean, come on. Original Roman garum that somehow got preserved to those times, that has value in itself. And although, I mean, we know how to make garum nowadays, so not the best comparison. Better comparison would be this, like, plant whose name I can't recall, but Romans used it for everything and it was mentioned everywhere, and it was so ubiquitous that nobody bothered to actually write down what it was. So until this very day, we have absolutely no idea what was that plant, how it tastes, what properties it has, because we don't know what it is. So I guess that might have been the better comparison here, or like Greek fire, another thing that we don't know much about, or the unbreaking glass, that was also Roman, I think, or Greek. Regardless. So that's where the first half ended, and the second half of the episode was what? What was the second half of the episode? Shit. Can't remember. Give me a moment. There we go. I had to refresh my memory a little bit. The second half of the previous episode was, of course, Frieren in the mines. Right? They arrived at a trading city that is being run by a traders guild. And turns out that Frieren had some debt. And turns out that debt has interest, probably compound. And it's been a couple of hundred of years, or no, it wasn't a couple of hundred of years. It was like 30, because she got that debt when she was traveling with Himmel, and we are now like 30 years post Himmel's death. So maybe like 40 years, 50, 60-ish years back. So by now it's a pretty damn sizable debt, basically impossible to repay, and so she was thrown into the mines. But it was all a part of the plan of the ruler of this city, because he wanted Frieren to use one of her spells to find the silver. Because of the monsters, the trade in the area basically completely dried up, right? All of the trade routes were ravaged. People are not willing to journey between cities, they're not willing to take the risk. And so the city that lives of trade, well, it's not the best situation when there is no trade. And so he wanted to extract silver that is supposedly in abundance underneath the city, and needed Frieren to locate it. And locate it she did, with a big, huge, impressive, imposing spell that I thought is going to maybe like blast a straight tunnel through the northern plateau back to the south, so that they can safely travel, or it's going to vaporize the mountain and leave only silver, or it's going to do some crazy thing. But it was just a beam that says silver there. And there was indeed silver there, and because she did what was asked of her, she was freed from the mines, and just in time too, because Fern and Stark were already discussing how to bust her out. And I have no doubt that they would have tried, and they would have gotten into trouble, and it's a good thing that Frieren was freed. And we travel. We travel on with the promise that our team will not be lacking in soft bread on their way, because the trading city that now has backing of their own excavation of silver, right? So they are not fully reliant on trade. They will supply them, or rather, maybe they will supply cities further north with soft bread and other amenities, and so Frieren, Stark, and Fern will have access to them. And I haven't been recording for a week, and because of that, I can already feel my throat aching a little bit. I hope I'm not coming down with any illness, and I hope it's just me being what's the opposite of used to? Unused to speaking? I don't know. Regardless, that's what happened in previous episodes. In today's episode, what do I expect? Today's episode is the last episode that I would expect could possibly also have the construction of two self-contained stories. maybe there's going to be like one self-contained story in the first half, and the second half will be our entry into the multi-parter, into story proper, perhaps with a cliffhanger. I wouldn't I wouldn't I wouldn't discount that possibility. And I mean, that's basically the only expectation that I have, because, well, we didn't really have any like continuous storyline throughout this season so far, so it's kind of impossible to figure out what's gonna be next. They will be further north, that's for sure, and they will be on their way to Ende. And that's basically all I know at this point. And it's dangerous around here, and they're gonna be better stocked up in various goods because they helped the trader. That's basically all I know. So we'll see where the function of those things is going to take us. What result will it produce, so to speak? And to do that, you will of course need your subs. Maybe not running. Thank you very much. Ugh. Come on, pause. You'll need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show and to hear my own voice. And I'm going to have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, because nothing helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 6 of Frieren Season 2 in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that's loud. That's better. Burning City. Not a demon, presumably. A demon, sorry. My presumption was incorrect. Oh, I thought for a moment that it was a demon attacking another demon. That's a katana. Is that a monster or a demon? I mean, demons are monsters, so not the best distinction. Call for help. Or just moving the information about what transpired here. 3 eyes, I think. That's a Polish flag burning. God damn. Russians, Germans, and now demons. Oh, when I started this channel, I would always say what kind of tea I'm having, and I kind of stopped at some point. This is sencha with some green tea from a bag, and it's not bad for bagged tea. Oh, and also, if you want to watch episodes of Frieren with picture-in-picture, with the episode being here in the corner, so you don't have to, like, split screen or whatever, you can get that on my Patreon. Down below, links also here, my Patreon name. And it's $5? $5, yeah, a month. If you feel like it. I think we might be setting up this one missing demon general, right? Because we know that one of them is still missing, still whereabouts unknown. And something tells me that was him, the one with 3 glowing eyes. And the demon slaying request will be probably... Oh, hello, Methode. What are you doing here? I'm glad that we get to see the characters that we met during the mage exams. Oh, hello, Richter? Oh, I thought it was something tied around his neck, but those are horns. Yeah, I mean, demon would do that, of course. Demon would ask for son, right? Beg for his life because son. Who the fuck is son? I don't fucking know, but it stops them from killing us. Yeah, I don't think demons even have the concept of like lying, right? Like in their mind, the words they say are not necessarily lies. Like, I'm going to consciously lie. Rather, it's, I don't know, like an anglerfish dangling the thingy. It's just natural. It's just what they do. So they now work under Seria, is what I'm getting here. And also, what I'm getting here is the events from before the opening. Oh, genau, not Richter. Happened not long ago. I thought it's like a flashback to Himmel times, or even pre-Himmel. Sure, sure they are. They're totally not all dead. Eh, magic is magic. Once you know one type, what's another one? Is he already dead? Yep. Already dead. Friend, I'm gonna assume. From the army? Maybe? Yeah, of course he realizes. Yeah, he just wanted to give him last bits of hope. Hmm. Are you from this city? He said that he doesn't really have any attachment to this town. I guess he was lying. Because he seems plenty attached. There is something to that philosophy. Trying to look for survivors still. That was... wasn't that Wirbel's spell? Frieren, Stark, and Fern. But that was Wirbel's spell, wasn't it? Using a proper title. Why were you sneaking through the roof? Yeah, he's cold on the outside, but he wanted to meet the demon who did it, right? For the same village. Oh, as you can see, Fubar. Because they also kill for sport, apparently. Yeah, they might eat like one or two of them if they're hungry. They're like cats. Hmm? What loose end? But there were more? Or... Hmm. Interesting. Uh... You killed the dragon, Stark. Just saying. So it means there's gotta be some head honcho. And essentially what they met in the village were scavenger demons. Humanity, fuck yeah. Methodic training with a sword? Not bad. Oh, recreating the wounds. Hmm, that's a possibility. That sounded like rocks in that bag. Yep, not far off. Heart attack. They should have gotten you some better rations on the road. Is he going to have a little bit of a bonding experience with Genau over their village being destroyed by demons? They were dual wielding. Ah, Methode. She really likes cute things. They better have some tooth repair spell. Yeah. Hmm. It attracts monsters. Yep. Yeah, basically. That would probably be a good option, yeah. So are you leaving the bodies here until the chivalric order can transport them to the cemetery? Or are they just gonna get mummified inside until someone decides to resettle the village? Yeah. From whom, though? Just a random passerby, or... Oh, from a squirrel. Someone's familiar? Okay, so she became serious student. She's so proud of herself. She is. That's true. The head honcho is dual wielding. Oh? Mm-hmm. But there isn't. Yeah, I mean... For all we know, the demon could have 4 hands. What about 4 swords? Yep. We got General Grievous here. No? You recognize him, I assume? And has beef with him. Okay, that's the episode. Shit. That was short. This episode really did not last long. Subjectively, of course, because, I mean, objectively, we're here for like 23 minutes now. But subjectively, it felt way shorter than other ones. Probably because there was no, like, multiple stories told, right? And no separation between the two halves. When you tell multiple individual stories in the span of a single episode, it feels like more happened, so it feels like it lasted longer, right? But because we just got... They met and ate and talked it doesn't feel that long, right? We are very much in the classic Frieren pacing, though, right? Taking our time, eating bread, and animating the chewing and all that. The Divine Revolt. Damn, that's a title and a half. Almost makes me think like Origin of the Demons or something like that. I don't know. But what I do know is that we gotta watch this episode again, right? As we always do. And so, I think it's this saturated, vaguely sepia-like, vaguely like Vaseline filter layer overlay effect that made me think it's taking place in the past. Now, this is not our demon. This is not the four-handed one. This is some other demon that we also put a lot of attention to. A demon, because she has horns, she wields a katana or some sort of, I don't know, other Japanese sword, or she wields a regular sword, she just carries it like a katana, I don't know, and has a very characteristic purple bracelet. There's a lot of attention at her, on her hand, on the handle of the sword. What's going on here? She threw that sword, right? Or maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, we see the characters here, right? The baker's son, the captain of the guard. And here is the four... No, that's the lizard. This is the four-handed one. And this is the moment, right, with the pigeon sending for help. Whoever received it, and send for Methode, Genau, and also Ferdinand Frieren. Do we see four arms, though? Not really. Not really, no. Interesting. I wonder if this demon actually does have four hands, or is it some sort of... It was in Overlord that one of the characters there had a spell or an ability, I think it was a spell, where they were able to essentially create like illusory hand and illusory sword, so and turn their arm and sword invisible, so their opponents would see the sword and a hand where somewhere else. Meanwhile, he would be doing some other move, something like that, but the illusion is also real, right? Like he has two hands and two swords, but it essentially operates as if he had four of them, maybe. Or maybe we simply weren't shown all four hands. I gotta take note of the female demon, I think. Female demon with katana and purple bracelet. Just taking note of her because I think we might be seeing her in the future, and I think she might be significant, right? Because assuming the four-handed one is one of the remaining sages of destruction, then if we defeat him, we have defeated all sages of destruction. But we kinda need some strong demons to still be, be the antagonists here. So her maybe like learning from the four-handed one, something like that, right? That could be a thing, maybe. Yeah, the entire town completely and utterly razed. Yeah, I at first time I did not notice that those are horns. I thought he's having like a handkerchief tied around his back, or the poncho he's wearing is like tied here, and those are the, you know, the corners of his poncho sticking from behind his head, comically. But no, it's a demon. It's a demon, and of course there's no sun. They're not even speaking half truths because, again, I really don't think that they even like lie consciously, right? I don't think we can even talk about what the demons say in the categories of truth and false, right? It's just their instinct, it's just how they trap their prey. It's not a lie to say I have a son, it's just a defensive mechanism, if you catch my drift. So, because of that, I don't think demons' lies will ever get any better. And that might actually be a good way to distinguish demons from humans should they ever decide to hide, which there is a precedent, right? That one demon wearing a hood to cover the horns and posing for a wandering priest, right? There is precedent for them disguising themselves, but verifying what they say, because you can have certainty that a demon will not say a half truth, that a demon will not prepare an elaborate lie, right? Because it's not even a lie. Say a demon lies, it couldn't have been me. I did not eat cereal for breakfast. And you walk into the room and there is a bowl of dirty whipped cereal. They did eat cereal for breakfast. They could have made the lie actually work by actually eating cereal for breakfast, but they didn't even bother because it's not a lie to them. Right? You get what I'm saying? It might be a good way to distinguish demons from humans. Demon slaying request from Seriem. Yep, Genau's hometown. I bear no attachment to this place, but it's still sad seeing it like this. So he says. And yet, at every step, he proves time and time again that he does bear attachment to this place. He probably wants to detach himself, right? Maybe as a defensive mechanism. If I detach myself from this hometown, if I stop caring about it, then it being destroyed won't hurt as much. Kind of sort of deal. Or it could be him believing that being a first class mage, you cannot be moved by little things like that. You have bigger problems you have to worry about. You can't show that you're shaken. Some sort of thing. Some sort of thinking like that. What about the others? Yeah, they're fine. We all know that they aren't. She's a mage, but she can use the goddess's magic. Yeah, the moment they stopped showing his eyes. Like, this is a dead giveaway in anime, right? They're showing someone laying on the ground and they show their eyes, alive and well, until proven otherwise. But if they stop showing the eyes of that character is dead. The other characters might not realize it yet, But it's a dead giveaway. No pun intended. And of course, complaining about bread because, yeah, it's not the best bread. It's fucking Panzerwaffels. A Polish army has a heart attack like that, where people even tried like nailing nails into some wooden boards with them, and it's mildly successful. So they're good though, like in flavor, not in texture because they're incredibly fucking hard. But they have nice like cumin in them, cumin seeds, not the cumin that you see in like Turkish food, but the cumin that the tiny little brown seeds. I don't know if it's called cumin in English. It's confusing. Cumin and cumin, whatever. But it's usually eaten after softening it, right? Like you make some soup, some broth, and you throw bits of it. You crack it or smash it with a hammer, and you throw it into the soup to make it more hearty. Or you, I don't know, water it down. Well, not water it down. You soak them with milk, or you do something like that for them to not be hard, or even just soak them in water. But I guess they're not doing that. They're just eating them as they are. Bring the injured over here. You don't need to spare my feelings. And yet she felt like she has to. Right? I think Methode in this moment had a better understanding of Genau than Genau himself would admit. I think there's something to that. He's already dead. He was beyond saving when I found him. The stench is dreadful. And I see what he's saying here as a bit of posturing, a bit of ensuring her that no, I'm not sentimental like that. I knew all along that he's dead. It's not like I was talking to him, to his corpse or anything. I knew that he's dead, right? I'm just bringing his corpse here. Oh, he stinks so. I'm sorry, his body stinks so much. Right? It's a bit of posturing because he knew probably that he was carrying a corpse, and yet he was talking to him about the good old days, that you're gonna be able to reopen your bakery, yada yada yada. But in front of a kohai, he has to play the hard ass here. It's interesting. He still clung to me, and you clung to him. Like when he was losing grip and falling, Genau just fixed him and gripped him tighter to carry him all the way. Didn't like change his grip to a princess carry or to levitate him or anything like that. Kept carrying him as if he was alive and injured. In those few little moments, we get a metric ton of characterization for Genau. He desperately wants to look hard on the outside. He desperately wants to look completely nonplussed. But on the inside, things are happening, things that he would never admit. His bread wasn't even very good. I have no attachment to him. I have no attachment to this place. Why does it have to be them instead of us? And like us, the people of this village didn't choose to fight. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about it. I have very vivid, vibrant memories of him and this village, but I don't care. Why do they have to die? But I don't care. I'm just, doing some philosophical talk here. It's not like I care. Don't think that I care, right? It should be the first class mages like us who chose this path. I fully agree with this. Why does it have to be them instead of us? Unlike us, the people of this village didn't choose to fight. In Poland, since the war of Russia and Ukraine started, there was plenty of talking about bringing back common conscription, right? To conscribe everybody essentially for at least like a couple of months to train them, to get them into the military and whatnot. And one of the most common sentiments is, okay, whoever says that we should bring conscription back, well, there you have a conscript, right? Conscript them. I don't want conscription, mandatory conscription for anybody, so, don't conscript me. But all the people who are for it, which is in grand majority women and old people who are never under the obligation of conscription, under the threat of being conscribed, right? They can go. They want to be conscribed, they want to carry a rifle and die in the trenches. Absolutely, be my guest. And I very much subscribe to this worldview where the people who want to fight, let them fight, but leave the people who don't want to fight out of those fights, right? But alas, sometimes a fight comes to people who never wanted it, and those are the results. Yeah, the village already was destroyed. One warrior and one hidden mage, 2 mages. That was Virbel's spell. Yeah, it definitely was Virbel's spell. And method stole their mana? Yeah. Frieren, Fern. I think this tells us that there is no way to distinguish humans from demons by their mana alone. Right? Because if this was something that you could do, then Frieren would know that those 2 inside aren't demons. And the people inside would know that those outside aren't demons. But apparently mana is mana, no matter your species. There was so much bloodlust in that spell, I thought you were a demon. She's right, I was worried to death. Again, we see that facade. We see beyond that facade, right? On the inside, he was boiling. Oh, is this the demon who did it coming back? Well, let me at him. Let me fucking at him. I'm gonna soul thrack him to the moon, right? But on the outside, he's calm, collected. He can't let that crack. I wonder what happens when he does crack eventually. Because I think that is certainly one of the possible resolutions to his character, for him to eventually crack that shell. Both groups received the request. My village was destroyed by demons too. Demons eat humans. Why have they not eaten them? They just kill for sport. There is plenty of animals out there, not just cats, that kill for sport. I believe dolphins sometimes do. I know that dolphins tend to hunt pufferfish and intoxicate themselves with the pufferfish venom. There was a brief period where dolphins were playing with, what was it? Like the head of a seal or something like that. They were playing with it like a ball. And there was another thing where dolphins would wear some fish carcasses, I think, as hats. Dolphins are fucking weird. Tell you what, they are like, they're fucking weird. They're really fucking weird. I'm glad they stay in water. There's still one loose end that Gena wishes to tie up. Probably like the main perpetrator of this massacre. killed by blades, but yeah, definitely not by the demons left in the village. I like this. Let's show it how terrifying humanity can be. In general, I very much enjoy humanity fuck yeah genre of stories. I've read pretty much. Yeah, I've read pretty sure the majority of humanity fuck yeah stories out there. I'm waiting for the next book in Bobbyverse. If I'm not mistaken, it's in the editing right now. It's written, completed. They're just editing it and publishing it, and I can't wait for another entry in the Bobbyverse series. If I had to recommend some other Humanity Fuck Yeah series to read, definitely One Hell of a Vacation. You can find it on Royal Road. It was great, one of the best that I've read. Nature of Predators, the first part, well, not really book, it's hella long, but not the sequel. The OG Nature of Predators, the sequel is a little bit different. Some people like it, some people don't, but the OG is good, worth reading definitely. The Death Worlders is a weird one. The first third, the first 2/3, something like that, of the Death Worlders is great, is amazing, and then the last bits turn into weird gay muscle macho porn. I've never seen a book devolve like so far away from its original premise. But I can recommend reading at least the first part because it's chef's kiss. But there is gonna be a time where you're just gonna go like, what the fuck, and you're gonna stop reading probably. But it's worth it. Until you hit the what the fuck moment, it's definitely worth it. But what was it? One Hell of a Vacation, probably my favorite so far. Highly recommended. Oh, and Billy Bob the Space Trucker. That's a classic. Okay, let's go back. Terrifying Humanity. I thought for a moment that Methode is trying to learn how to wield a sword. But why though? I know. For a moment I even thought that we're gonna have some something like, I know, Stark offering to train her and Fern being very jealous because of that. I know. I was under the impression that it's going to go in this direction. But no, she was of course trying to replicate the sort of moves that would have to be performed to cause those specific wounds. Maybe it fought with two swords. Okay, the nearby is free. And we gotta have dinner. Hardtack with nothing. My favorite. Something I know already. Fern being a hamster. Yeah. Like, Methoda's reaction is the reaction to have here, for sure. Demon attack destroyed the church's barrier. Yeah, we don't bury the bodies because rot attracts monsters. Duh, of course. Everyone else is buried in common graveyards at the plateau's southern edge. Fewer monsters closer to the southern walls. Which kind of begs the question, now that we are going further and further north. We don't really see the cities in the north being particularly fortified, right? Like, you'd think that cities that are in the north, lots of demons, lots of monsters, would be essentially fortresses. But we haven't seen that. We've seen wooden hamlets, some masonry here and there, but nothing like city walls. Well, that one trading city, it was placed on a bit of like a plateau or something, defended from all around with cliffs. Like those towns, those cities aren't even really built on any particularly defensive positions. I wonder what's at play here. Also, I guess we don't know the full history. Like, when did the demon lord appear, for example? Maybe those cities already existed before the demon lord appeared, and people refused to move out even at the height of demon lord's power. No, all those at the height of demon lord's power, all those towns would be wiped out, and only surviving people would be in the south, further away from the demon domain. So I guess the demon lord was defeated and people started moving further and further north in search for life for themselves, right? Like life on the frontier, essentially. Untapped potential of the region, full of like gold veins that were not mined and resources not claimed. Something along those lines, maybe? I don't know. Also, I wonder if the wall of the south even moves forward. I think I already talked about that a little bit, because if it doesn't, if it's just static, I wouldn't like that very much. Like, humanity should be trying to reclaim the land from demons. They should try to move further and further and further north. And there doesn't seem to be any particular push for that. I don't know. We don't really know much about the politics and social politics of this world, so the kind of rational thinking you'd expect from merchants. Yeah, I mean, cremate the bodies, and then you can even keep them at home in an urn, or you can have like a nav in a church where all the urns would go, and it's not gonna cause any problems. But yeah, the clergy voiced their own opinion because, of course, it's inhumane to suggest burning people who already suffered painful deaths. Right, but is it humane to not burn them and risk the lives of their loved ones? Be it by transporting the corpses or by burying them nearby. I think we should think more about the living than about the dead in this case, right? That's just my opinion. No one will be able to rest in their homeland either way. Sure. I again come back to the thought that people should just migrate south. That's the very easy option here. Just go south. It's safe in the south. If you live under the threat of demons in the north, you don't have to. You can pack all you have on a cart and just bail. It's allowed. No one's stopping you. I love this animation of Frieren's mouth chewing here. This bit. Frieren has the best faces. And they apparently got the letter from a squirrel. Do we know any first-class mage who does any like nature-related stuff? Not really. Not really. Nobody comes to mind who have like control over squirrels. I guess Seria might have a spell that does it, and maybe Seria sent this letter. I don't know. Maybe we're gonna learn who sent it, maybe not. We'll see. Come to the Northern Plateau as basically learning. as a study. Go to the Northern Plateau, there's plenty of demons, fight those demons. I am sending someone, more senior with you in case you need guidance, in case you need help. Sending him with you, and you're gonna learn as you go how to fight in real life, not inside of a dome, not in classes. You go kill demons, basically, kind of learning, which makes sense. Look how happy she is, how proud of herself. I turned her down. You're a good girl. I only wish I could be more useful to her. Maybe she would allow me to hug her and cuddle her. I love Methode. And Mr. Genau has been a perfect example of how not to behave. Yeah. Don't, don't stifle the feelings and the thoughts and the emotions you have. Be a little bit more open, maybe, with yourself, first and foremost. We don't know how many there are, but we know that it's probably wielding 4 swords. Hmm. 4 blades, and we get a bit of a look at him. Some sort of a Lamia kind of deal. Lower body of a snake, upper body of a demon. 4 hands that seem to be splitting at the elbows. Like halfway through the shoulder kind of split. I mean, we just see the silhouette, so it could very well be. No. 2 hands are normal and 2 are attached to like shoulder blades. Yeah, that's the setup. And again, we see a little bit behind the mask that Genau is wearing in this bite. He remembers the face and bites. He was complaining that it's so hard and everybody was chewing a little bit by a little bit, but this was an angry bite. This was a strong bite. This was supposed to be the demon's head that he bites off. On the outside, calm and collected. On the inside, boiling. And just, chomping at the bit, essentially. I did not expect we're gonna get this much characterization for Genau of all people. Can't run away though, you'd be abandoning the village, we can handle that many, he's better than me, she should be fun, you seem to know who I am, it's likely that it has a far from human appearance. The Divine Revolt. Now that's a very interesting title. The Divine Revolt. Are we going for the classic demons are just angels that revolted? Probably not. We know that demons are closer to monsters than to humans, so certainly not close to angels, whatever angels might be. Are demons because of some sort of a curse by the goddess? Did the goddess have a hand in the creation of demons? Somehow? It's actually not a bad theory. Good enough to note it down. The goddess had a hand in creating demons. I'm not saying that she created them directly, but maybe some of her actions have led as a result to demons being born. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see in the future episodes. But right now, that's gonna be it. That was a fun episode, and it seems that I was correct that the second half of this season is going to be the main story. And it seems that I was correct in that the second half of this season is going to be hunting down the last remaining Sage of Destruction. So that's gonna be interesting. We have fought a Sage of Destruction, we have fought Qual, but Qual was turned to stone for a lot of years. Meanwhile, this dude has been alive all this time. He had to have been plenty strong to survive this much, and he only kept growing stronger. So he's going to be quite the challenge, and I'd imagine it's going to take all of us here, Fern, Frieren, Genau, Stark, and Methode, all to take him down. If that. If we're not gonna need help from another character or two. Probably not. I don't think that they would suddenly be like, oh, by the way, Virbel is around, and he was also sent to destroy this demon, and he's also gonna help you. I don't think they're gonna do that. They might, though. Like, nothing's out of the picture necessarily. But, yeah. Cool, fun episode. Not much happened ultimately. We just met with the other group. We talked, we figured out what happened here. We got a metric ton of characterization for Genau, and we set up the storyline for the next half of this season. And this was very much of a setup episode, but still very, very, very enjoyable. I liked it very much. Very Frieren, right? Especially the pacing that they allowed themselves to stick around for some shots for longer to create more tension, more feeling, right? The pacing of season 1 is definitely there, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But I think that's gonna be it from me for today, but maybe you guys have something more to add on the topic of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that. If so, say so in the comments down below. No spoilers, please. Spoilers can go to my Discord here, also in the description. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos in the future. That's redundant. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube down below. On Patreon you get access to picture-in-picture videos. The picture-in-picture of this episode is going to come out a little bit after this episode does. So be patient and wait a little bit. And click the bell to be notified of future releases, of course. And with that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Dr. Watt, Akamancer, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to eat heart attack.